In this video, I'm going to show the simple steps a homeowner can do to overseed their grass or lawn. And I am in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area. So it is early September, the perfect time to reseed. So you need to seed before at least 1 month before the leaves start falling. And if you are in the northern zone, you might want to start a little early, maybe middle of August. And if you are in a little southern, maybe North Carolina or so, and further down, you can start a little later, maybe mid-September. So as you can see, my grass has been patchy a little bit or not thick enough. So these need to be reseeded. So you can see a lot of areas which are not covered. And in this video, I'm going to show you how a homeowner can do it without any special equipment. Though it's going to be better to do core aerating and dethatching and all those things. I am going to show you can get some results without going through those procedures and without hiring a professional. The first thing I'm going to do is remove any of the weeds that I can find. And at this point, I'm going to do it by hand because I don't have a lot of weeds, but I want to take out as much as I can. And you can use a treatment, a chemical herbicide treatment. You will find some videos on my channel, but it might be a little late now to put in a herbicide because it will affect your germination rates and it will affect the grass that will be coming out of the seed. So I would not put any herbicide. You should do as much as you can with just going spot and looking at weeds that you can see and pulling by hand. The next step is to mow the grass as low as you can. Usually for a fescue lawn, I mow at the highest level, which is around 3 and 3.5 inches. So I'm going to switch to the lowest setting because I want to expose as much dirt as possible. So this is the lowest it can go. And the grass will be cut low, but it will also expose the soil, which is very much needed for the sunlight to go to the soil for the seeds to germinate. The next step is to select your seeds. The grass seeds, it's a very important part depending on where you are located. In our location, we usually use tall fescue blend and maybe bluegrass. So bluegrass is a little difficult to maintain. Tall fescue is more tolerant to drought. And we do get heats above 90 degrees over in the Northern Virginia area. So what I prefer is I go to our local garden center, and what I look for is how much seed I'm getting for what I'm paying. So on the back side, you will see how much inert matter it is, and most of the other brands that I have seen, they put 50% inert matter. So you are basically paying 50% of your price for dirt, and I don't like it. They have changed the amount of inert matter, and these are almost pure seed. If you want to look at the type of fescue or the seed you're getting, it's all labeled in the back. And so, for example, this one is the firecracker, is the main ingredient of this one, which is a really deep green, and I like it. And also they usually, the local garden center stores usually the seeds that are more applicable to the area. If you don't have access to a garden center or want to just go and pick up some seed, this is the one I picked up today from Home Depot. It's very cheap actually, very good. And this is a 3-pound bag of Vigoro grass seed. It's a tall fescue blend for both sun and shade. And this one has the almost no inert matter in there. So you can see it's like 1% inert matter. But you can also see that they have the tall fescue, which is actually rhizomatic tall fescue in there. so that can spread like bluegrass does. Either way, I will have another video for the grass seed selection. The next one is I will put down some lime, and if your soil test shows you don't need lime, you can skip this, but usually I try to put at least one bag of lime onto the soil at least once a year. And the other thing you need is some starter fertilizer. Either you can buy the lawn fertilizer, which I have. This actually doesn't have the potassium, which is the middle number here. It has the nitrogen and some phosphorus. So what I'm going to do is, this is not the starter fertilizer, and usually the starter fertilizer you can get a bag of it. But what I do is I supplement the starter fertilizer with a regular garden fertilizer, which has 10-10-10. So these are actually, if you want to mix that, and that will give you some amount of phosphate as well as some amount of potassium. Use a drop spreader for both the lime and the fertilizer, and I've set it to 4, and this should cover the area I have. It's possibly around 2,500 to 3,000 square feet, so you can adjust how much you need the lime and the fertilizer based on that. So next goes the fertilizer, and I'm going to use the broadcast spreader, and I will crisscross, go different directions to make sure the fertilizer is in the soil evenly. The next step is very important, is the grass seeds. So to lay down the grass seeds, it needs to have good contact with the soil, and many people actually miss that part and they don't get good results. So what I have is, I have some topsoil, or actually this is a manure from a horse farm that I had got, and this has been aged like 10 years. So it's very dark. You can see it's really good soil. But if you don't have this, you can also get like topsoil, or there is a manure that Home Depot sells or Lowe's sells, and those are really good to put down on the grass. So it provides the nutrients, it loosens up the soil, and also the seed will make good contact with this soil when it's loose on the top. If you don't have this, then you have to rake the soil with a rake, like with a hard rake like this. So you have to go into the soil and you have to loosen the dirt, and that's usually the more work if you don't get topsoil to put in. And for mine, since I have the topsoil, I will just use that and then rake that in later on. So what I'm going to do is, I'll go to mix the seed into the soil. That way when I spread the soil, the seed will already be in, and the amount of seed you put in will be dependent on how much you need to put in based on your area. So I will be, in my case, since my grass has thinned quite a bit, I'm going to put quite a bit of seeds so that it has good seed and soil mixture. I'm going to put in the plant food fertilizer, which has 10-10-10, so nitrogen 10, potassium 10, and phosphorus 10, because this is required for the seeds. So I'm going to mix this in with the soil so it gets distributed when I put the soil down. So to put the soil with the 10-10-10 fertilizer and the seeds, it's so much easier that you just spread it on, and it will get into your grass. It will not kill your older grass, but it will help with the seeding with the new grass, so you don't have to worry about making the seed soil contact. This step is similar to the one-step formulas that they sell in the store for a fraction of the price. So though you are paying for the seed separately, the fertilizer separately, but I've also used the garden fertilizer, which is way cheaper than buying a starter fertilizer, and you can get the garden variety seed that you want and do the mix yourself, and you'll get almost the same result or better result, and you will get a lot more for the money you pay instead of buying a one-step formula which will probably cover a fraction of the area that you want to reseed. This is the second batch I just prepared for this area, so you can prepare as much as you want and separate out. So this way you are feeding the grass with the rich soil that you have, and also the seeds are going to be in contact with the soil. And the last step is, and not the least, is you need to keep watering twice a day, morning and evening, at least for the first 2 weeks. The fescue takes 2 weeks to germinate, and you want the soil to be moist. So this is going to help in a very short period of time. I was able to put down new grass seeds and also top dress my existing lawn. This is exactly 2 weeks after I put down the seed, and you can see a lot of sprouts coming out, and it has filled the gaps that I had in my front yard, and you can probably see the amount of seedlings that has come out. And I'm still watering it at least twice a day if there is no rain. If there is rain, I don't need to water it, and keep the soil moist. So there might be more seeds that will be still germinating, so I'm still going to keep the watering. But you can see how full the new seeds are going to fill up the space of the new grass coming out. And the technique that I used is working pretty well. I'm not going to mow this grass, and that was one of the reasons I mowed it pretty low, so that I don't have to mow it for the next 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks, until the new seeds or the new grass is already taken root and at least 3 or 4 inches tall. And also you want to avoid the kids playing in the yard, so I've told my kids not to play in this space. So leave the seedlings growing for at least another week or two, and that's where I might mow after another 2 weeks. This is after 5 weeks of planting the grass seeds, and you can see it has covered quite a bit. I'm going to mow the first time after planting seeds. It has been a while, but I let the seedlings grow as far as it can, and you can see how much I have got new grass in here, and it's pretty well covered. Most of the area, you can see some of the areas need maybe another fall seeding, but overall where I wanted the grass, it's there. And the leaves are falling, so I want to mow the grass at 3 and 3.5 inches, which is the tallest I can mow. And also I want to mulch the leaves in there. You don't want to rake the leaves when it's new grass. You may want to either blow the leaves if you can, or mulch it in. Here is the grass after I mowed it the first time after 5 weeks of planting, and you can see I have a lot of new grass that came out, and so you can see how thick my grass is, and this will give you some indication of what you can do as a homeowner to plant new grass seeds and overseed it. So hope you like the video. Subscribe to my channel. I have other videos on grass and weed control on the lawn, and also I will have some more videos on seed selection for cool season grasses and also fertilizing.